What up, YouTube? I've been waiting to do this video for a while because these kicks have contributed more to fashion, sports, and sneaker culture than any other sneaker ever made. I'm talking about the Converse All-Star Chuck Taylors. So hang out with me for a few minutes and I'll talk all about the history of this shoe and explain why these are hands down the most iconic sneakers ever made. Plus, I'll tell you how Converse has been taking advantage of a tax loophole for years. Okay, let's get started. Starting at the beginning, Converse was founded over 100 years ago in 1908 by a guy named Marquise Mills Converse. That's right, there was actually a guy named Converse, and at the time his company was called the Converse Rubber Shoe Company. And in the early years, they made their money selling rubber galoshes. Those are the rubber boots you normally slip over your existing shoes to keep them dry. Anyway, they sold other footwear too, but 9 years into the company, Converse decided to get involved with a new emerging sport called basketball. Basketball had only been around since 1891, and it wasn't super popular at the time. Regardless, the Converse team decided to create the world's first athletic shoe, primarily focused on basketball. The result was the Converse Non-Skids. These were the father of the All-Stars, and they looked a lot like them with a rubber outsole and a canvas upper. Converse made a big point to market these as specifically designed for athletes, and they were very proud of their non-skid live rubber soles. With this, the performance basketball shoe was born. In 1922, Converse hired athlete Charles Chuck Taylor to help them with their sales and marketing. Charles played for the Akron Firestones, but he was also a coach and a salesman. Chuck Taylor recognized the value and potential of these Converse sneakers, and he even helped Converse make a bunch of improvements to the non-skids, making them more flexible and supportive. I learned it was also his idea to add the now iconic round logo to the side of the shoes. When the first All-Stars officially released in 1922, they were the first ever athlete-endorsed shoes on the planet. Think about that for a second. Chuck Taylor was endorsing a pair of basketball sneakers 62 years before Jordan signed with Nike. It's crazy to think Converse was doing stuff like that 100 years ago. With Chuck Taylor's support, they now had a great product, but there was one major problem. During that time, baseball and football were the preferred sports in America, and not a lot of people were interested in basketball, much less basketball sneakers. So Converse made a smart decision and sent Chuck Taylor all over the United States on a grassroots marketing campaign. He visited high school gyms and YMCAs all over the country in an attempt to boost sales, and as luck would have it, the plan actually worked. And All-Stars became the go-to basketball sneaker for not only kids, but professional players as well, and it was the sneaker of choice for almost every pro player at the time. But that's just the beginning. After people realized the versatility of the All-Star, other athletes started wearing them, and over time they became the official shoe of the Olympics from 1936 to 1968. That's an impressive run. Even the U.S. Army got involved and chose them as their official training shoe during World War II. So as you can imagine, sales were pretty good at the time. After the war and into the 1960s, the Converse All-Star quickly became the most popular athletic shoe on the planet, and in 1968, they held an unbelievable 90% market share in all basketball shoe sales. That's basically a monopoly, and they would hold that dominating position up until the late 70s. That's around the time when Nike, Adidas, and other shoe companies were hitting the scene hard and innovating like crazy. Unfortunately, the dated 1920s design of the All-Star simply couldn't keep up. Compared to what Nike was putting out at the time, the All-Stars looked and felt old and outdated, and pro athletes and the general public started to explore other performance brands. But that wasn't the end of the Converse story. In the early 1980s and even 90s, All-Stars were no longer regarded as a performance sneaker, and they became more of a street fashion lifestyle shoe. They were embraced by a lot of rock and punk groups here in the US and abroad. They were just a cool, clean, affordable pair of kicks that now had sort of an underdog appeal. It wasn't long into the 1990s when the All-Star reappeared again as the unofficial sneaker for West Coast hip-hop. West Coast rappers like Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg put these firmly back on the map for urban culture. But I'm told Converse executives weren't really happy about the music industry, street fashion status they had, and they wanted to remain a performance brand. That was a bad idea, and with dwindling sales, they struggled to find their place and even filed for bankruptcy more than once. It's kind of unfortunate, but finally, after years of struggling, Nike bought Converse for $305 million in 2003. That's why you see Converse sneakers popping up all over Nike's website and apps. After Nike bought Converse, they released the All-Star 2 in an attempt to boost sales. It was very similar to the original, but they added thicker canvas and other performance enhancements. But the public wasn't interested, so they bricked, and most of them ended up on the rack at the discount stores. Technically, they were better than the original All-Stars, but sometimes people are funny like that, and you shouldn't mess with a good thing. There's no question, when the All-Star dropped all those years ago, they were way ahead of their time, but it seems so simple now. A rubber outsole and a canvas upper. But they're light, relatively comfortable, affordable, and they breathe well on foot. When I was younger, I had the high tops, but these days I prefer the lows, or as they're formerly called, the Oxfords, and I always have at least one or two pairs on deck. Now, I love innovative high-tech kicks, but there's just something so timeless about the All-Stars that eventually I always come back to them. The Oxfords come in a box that is pretty slim compared to your average sneaker box, but one touch I always liked is these 2 metal rivets on the side of the box. Check it out. It's exactly like the 2 little rivets on the side of the shoe. It might not seem like much, but this was innovative sneaker tech in its day, offering ventilation and fresh air to an athlete's feet. I always liked that they added those rivets to the box. It's a cool little touch. You have that classic rubber shell covering the entire toe box. This gets scuffed pretty easily, but Magic Eraser will usually take the scuffs right out. You have more metal rivets going up the eye stays, a simple canvas tongue with All-Star on a white embroidered tag. The interior of the sneaker and the insole has that classic sail white color that's trending nowadays. Regarding the outsoles, here's a little fun fact. Most people recognize the dark brown rubber outsoles, but if you look a little closer, you will notice a good portion of this outsole doesn't look like rubber at all, and it actually looks like some sort of fabric. That's correct. Converse claims the fabric on the outsole of this shoe is meant to help keep its grip and remain quiet with each step. Now, that may be true, but I've learned there's another reason for the felt outsole. Apparently, the soles are specifically designed with a felt bottom that covers more than 50% of the sole. This allows it to technically and legally be classified as a slipper. This slipper status allows Converse to fetch a lower import tax. Basically, by adding this felt to the bottom, they pay less tax. I can't be mad at that, and if it keeps these more affordable, I'll support it. Regarding price, a regular pair these days will retail anywhere from $39 to $65 US, but the prices are all over the place. They have countless colors, collabs, and special editions that will resell for hundreds of dollars or more, but for me, the standard black and the standard white pairs are the way to go. They're so classic you can't go wrong with them, especially the black pair. Regarding fit, they run a little big in my opinion, and I would recommend going down a half a size or even a full size. But due to this simple canvas upper, the fit will almost completely depend on how you lace them. I wear mine loose, so they do kind of flop around on my foot like a pair of slippers. Regarding comfort, they're definitely better than a pair of dress shoes, but they are not the most comfortable. You won't feel that bounce or smush when you walk like with a modern pair of sneakers, but that's not the point. I've said it before, wearing these is like driving a classic car. It won't be comfortable, safe, or high-tech, but nonetheless, you will enjoy the experience and appreciate them for what they are. They're also one of the few kicks to me that look cool when they're a little beat up and scuffed. In conclusion, the All-Stars are fun, cool, easy, affordable, and completely timeless. They are universally accepted and good just the way they are. I'll probably always own at least one pair. Another bonus, they're not made out of leather, so nothing had to die to make them. Now that Nike owns Converse, I have no doubt they will continue to make new and innovative performance sneakers, but to me, the Chuck Taylor All-Stars will always be the quintessential pair of Converse. That's my video on the history of the Converse All-Stars. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I ask that you please click the thumbs up, please subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on my latest videos. You can also check me out on Instagram at E21Life. I'm always posting random content there. As always, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it, and until next time, stay safe, everyone. Peace.